Hey there, Start here. So we've got the newest World of Visions event with the Final Fantasy VII Remake version. So it's just day one, so there are only 4 stages open. The remaining 3 stages will open on day 3, which, you know, for some people will be Saturday. For me, it'll be Sunday. But yeah, so we've only got the first 4 stages open, and they're all quite simple. So I'm going to do a very budget team to get through these first 4 stages. I'm going to try and use pretty much the same units with maybe, you know, just switching 1 or 2 units at the most. I think I'm only going to be switching 1 unit actually for all of these fights. And so we'll be getting all of these done with a pretty budget team. I tried to go as budget as I could and still get away with a perfect score on all of these. So I'll show you how we get each one of these done. And then when the remaining 3 stages, you can see Rufus there is unlocked, and then the final 2 stages will be in the Midgar Expressway. When those get unlocked, I'll do some videos on those as well, and hopefully I'll be able to get a rank 1 in this event and show you guys how I do that. So let's go ahead and start with the first one, which is the Shinra building. And in fact, the first 2, the Shinra building and Sector 6 sewer system, we are literally going to use the exact same team. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to switch an Esper, because the first 2 are Fire Week bosses. And so let's get into this first one. Oh, sorry, I'm on my last team. Let's go ahead and switch to my Fire team here. So we're going to use the exact same team for this one and the next one against Abzu in the sewers. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to switch the Esper. That's the only thing we have to do is switch the Esper on Esther, because the first one is a human. So this guy is just a human soldier, weak to fire. You can use physical DPS or magic DPS on this one. It is weak to both. There is only 1 boss. It's the 4th stage that is specifically weak to magic. All of the other ones you can do magic or physical against them. So here's the basic team I'm going to use for pretty much all of these clears. The only slot that I'm going to change out is going to be the last slot with Ling. A Ling we're going to use on the first 2 battles because she has the killers for both bosses. And then Ling will get switched out on stage 3, and then on stage 4 we'll use somebody else in that slot as well. So really just 1 unit is getting switched. The rest of the team is pretty much here to stay. So we've got Avalanche Jessie. She's going to be doing our breaking. She's going to be doing our evasion provoke unit as well. That's why she's right there in slot 1. She'll also be helping out with a bit of LB fill. We've got my EX+0 Esther. We've got my EX+0 Sylvie. We've of course got Cetra Descendant Aerith. Mine is EX3. Hopefully yours is at least at EX2, so that you can get her LB up on turn 1. And then we've got Neovision Awakened Elena, and we of course have our good friend Ling there. Now, if you don't have an EX+2 Aerith, Ling will help out with some LB fill. It might be a little bit tougher to pull that off in clears that we don't have Ling, but I'm sure you can figure it out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the gear real quick. The gear is not going to change for pretty much on any of these, with the exception of maybe some killers. But as far as Jessie's concerned, she's going to be pretty much the same. I did equip this riser card, the no matter the cost cards, so that she has her LB filled on turn 1. Just makes it really easy to sort of zip through this and do this. All of these are going to be 2-turn clears, so that's really easy to get her up and running. She is 100% evade, and she is 100% provoke. So she is ready to go. Here's my Esther, super budget build Esther here. You know, just her STMR is really the only thing that's, you know, gonna cost really anything. Hopefully you've got an STMR Moogle there for her. Otherwise, Mask of Azure, that's trial gear for Human Killer. Steric Scolder is just a high attack clothes that you get for free from the Season 4 story. So is Tyvis's Gauntlet. Guy's Belt, he's a 3-star unit that got an NVA, so you can get an STMR from him. Really nice, gives Maneater Plus. Valued Memories is there. That's actually for the next one when we go up against Abzu, because Abzu is a beast. Indestructible Light for the chain cap up, Advanced Weaponry to top off her TDH. I did give her Chizuru's Vision card, because you can buy that now in the Perma VC shop. So that is technically a budget Vision card now, which is kind of nice. So she's 300% human, 300% LB damage, and perfectly overcapped on her her TDH there. Too easy. Yeah, so Sylvie doesn't really need anything. Honestly, she could technically just be naked. She doesn't really need anything because she's not going to take any kind of damage. So really, you can just ignore all her gear here. Aerith, you can also pretty much ignore all of her gear. She's not going to be doing any kind of damage or anything like that, even in the last fight that's magic only. So you can really ignore pretty much all of her gear in both forms. Yeah, so just don't even worry about gearing her. Pretty much same goes for Elena. She's not going to be doing any appreciable damage. Esther's going to be doing all the damage on the first 3 fights, and then on the 4th fight, we'll bring in Golbez to basically carry that fight for us, since it's a mage-only fight. All right, so really this gear's inconsequential. I didn't even give her killers, so yeah, don't worry. Ling, she's going to be in her Brave Shift form the whole time, so I just made her full evade. You don't have to worry about it, really. You can basically make her naked as well. Just give her Call of the Wild so that she has a little bit of LB fill at the beginning of the turn. That just helps get her up and running on turn 1. All right. So let's go ahead and get in here and see how we get this done in 2 turns. Alright, so first turn, Jessie is just going to do some LB fill. This is for both for Esther and for Ling, because Ling needs LB in order to get her killers. Esther is going to do Quantum Storm on Sylvie, and then Bolting, Slice, and Calm before the storm. Aerith is going to do Ardent Prayer for the Fire Imbue. Elena going to do Way of the Aurora, Piercing Prism, Crystal Refraction, just to get her set up. Paladin Sylvie is just going to do Paladin's Defense, Compassionate Knight, Burgeoning Defense. That's just going to be her standard turn 1 every single fight. And then Ling can just do... we're going against the human here, so Assassin Stance, followed by Rallying Dance and Dragon Dancer. So if you don't have your Avalanche Jessie with that Vision card, this will actually totally fill up her LB gauge, so you don't even need that Vision card now that I think about it. So having Ling is nice. Alright, and then there we go. Alright, Sylvie is honestly just here to provide Esther that 100 times mod boost to her LB. That way Esther does, even more damage. That's really the only thing Sylvie is going to be doing. She will have some use in some of the other ones, but yeah, she's there, and she's also just going to be there to take the Quantum Storm, so she can chain with Esther. All right, so we're just going to be doing LBs, pretty much LBs, LB, LB. Sylvie will do Chain Lightning. You could have your White Dragon Ling equipped with like the Hyo card so that she can also do some Extreme Nova chaining if you want, but it's not necessary. She's already done her killers, so we don't need to do that. So let's just go ahead and chain this up and get our chain cap. So you're going to do Jessie first, followed by Aerith, and then Esther, Elena, Sylvie. And this should give us well over 100 chains. Should be well over 1 billion. The damage cap on all of these early bosses is only 1 billion damage. It's like 1 billion and I don't know, something. But yeah, so you see 1.5 well over the cap. And we're pretty much going to be doing that for all the fights. Like I said, I tried to tune it as low as I could without going so low that I didn't hit the cap with some consistency. So there you go. 1.5 is more than enough. Esther basically carrying that fight. Elena, so Esther did enough to cap all by herself. Elena just a little extra to make sure that you get over that cap just in case you roll low. All right, so that was the Shinra building. So just like I said, Abzu is basically exactly the same. I am literally all I'm gonna do here is change the Esper to Ifrit. That's all I'm gonna do. we've got the exact same team, exact same setup, exact same rotation. Let's get in there. All right, and in case you missed anything in the last one, we're just going to do the exact same rotation, okay? Nothing fancy. Ardent Prayer for the Fire Imbue. Esther, Quantum Storm to Paladin Sylvie. Bolting Slice, Calm Before the Storm. Elena does Way of the Aurora. Piercing Prism, Crystal Refraction. Ling will just do... Ling will do Hunter Stance for the Beast Killer this time. Rallying Dance and Dragon Dancer. Alright, and once again, Sylvie, Paladin's Defense, Compassionate Knight, Burgeoning Defense. And I do that, so the Paladin's Defense puts up 5 stacks of Mirage for 1, so if there's any AoE physicals, those are taken care of. Burgeoning Defense, just in case there's any magic, and then the Compassionate Knight, in case there are any breaks or any kind of ailments. I think the only boss that does ailments is the last boss in stage 4, but some of them will do breaks, I believe. So it's just a good way to have all your bases covered. All right, and then just like before, LBs, 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 Chain Lightning. All right, same thing as before. Go Jesse, Aerith, Esther, Elena, Sylvie. Super easy. There we go. All right, should again be somewhere between 1 and 2 bill. 1.6. Nice. Very consistent. All right. And there's another perfect score. Again, Esther carrying basically all that damage by herself. Okay. All right, so that's Abzu. So now we're moving on to a different element. So we are going to have to switch our team just a little bit. It is water, which is very convenient because if you happen to have a Yoshikiri, then that makes this very, very easy. My Yoshikiri is EX2. He does not need to be EX2. He can be EX1. Just needs access to his Brave Shift for the team Water Imbue. Other than that, I'm going to be using the intrinsic ability, BA Start, which if you were around for that, you would have gotten it for free. Otherwise, you then have to purchase it and then craft it using Master's Crowns. So that may not be as worth it for you. You could honestly just bring Ling again and then switch in somebody else that can do a Water Imbue for the team. However you want to do it, but this is just a really easy way to get this done. And again, it's going to be another simple 2-turn strategy to get this one done. As you can see, I didn't even bother to switch the killers on Esther because Esther hits Machine Killer so easily. So all the gear, I literally did not change any gear. So all the gear that I showed you at the beginning is the same gear that we are using for the rest of the team. The only thing is I just want to show you on my Yoshikiri, as I gave him his intrinsic ability, BA Start, which he is going to use on Esther for the 400% stat buff. Really, Aerith takes care of the 400% stat buff, but really it's just for the 200% machine killer. That's what we really want. And then he will do the AoE Water Imbue for the team. It's only a 15% amp, but that's all that we need. All right, so that's the only difference. So let's get in here and get it done. All right, so this is gonna play out like a broken record. All right, the rotation does not really change, so just triple lay down the rubber for the LB fill, and this time it's more for Esther than it is for Ling, just to make sure Esther has enough LB because you're using Quantum Storm on Sylvie again, and Quantum Storm does not fill Esther's LB at all, so that's why we do that. All right, and then again, Paladin's Defense, Compassionate Knight, Burgeoning Defense. All right, they can go ahead and do that. Aerith does not need to do... Yep, she doesn't need to do anything here, so we can just do Wish to Save the Planet, just so she'll do a little bit of extra damage if you want. Elena will do Way of the Aurora, Piercing Prism, Crystal Refraction. Yoshikiri will use BA Start on Esther, and we'll do the Water Imbue next turn. Alright, so now we'll do Water Scroll for the Water Imbue, and then, yep, we'll just do everything we did before. LB, 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 and Chain Lightning. Alright, let's do it. Right, again, should be somewhere between 1 and 2 bill. Been pretty consistent so far. Ah, 1.2. Yeah, we had a smaller amp, so that's probably why we only had a 15% amp on our preferred element on that one, as opposed to a 30% that we had last time. No big deal. All right. Again, Esther leading the pack, capped it all by herself at 1.1, so no problem there. All right. Final stage is the Shinra building, all right, against the Specimen. So let's take a look at the team that I used on this one, which was a light element. So we're switching to the light team. Okay, so you notice we took out Yoshikiri and we put in Golbez because this boss is a demon, and it has insanely high defense, but very, very low spirit. So physical damage dealers are not going to do as much. If you had like an EX3 2B though, I mean, she's still probably going to cap it. But if you're on a budget, you want to bring in your Neovision Awakened Golbez, and he is going to slay this one for you, easy peasy. No worries on that one. All right, so again, the team is basically all exactly the same. Nothing has changed in the gear. With the, Esther hits Demon Killer very easily, so I just gave her Bahamut Esper. So, everyone else's gear is exactly the same. We'll just go over Golbez's gear real quick. I tried to make him pretty budget, gave him the Encyclopedia of Herbs, which is that free two-handed rod that we got from Item World a couple months ago. If you don't have that, if you can get your hands on another two-handed rod, or any kind of like two-handed weapon is really going to work for you. I gave him Emil's head because we just got that from the Nier event, and it's a nice helmet with some mag on it, so that's always kind of nice. He does need his curse armor because he will use that for the 87% spirit break on turn 1. Because he has to do his he has to drop his meteors before Jessie uses her limit burst this time, and so we need to make sure that break is in place. Otherwise, just some high mag gear, needs indestructible light for the chain cap up, and then just some demon killers to make sure he's all topped up there. So he's got 300% demon, easy peasy. And practice session, which is Oliveira's vision card. If you have Dazzling Demoness, obviously that's a better choice, but this one is the budget option since you can buy this in the Perma VC Select shop. All right, and that is the only difference in the team. Okay, so let's go ahead and get in there and see how we get this done. All right, just like before, Jessie's just going to do triple, lay down some rubber for LB fill. Aerith is going to use her normal form LB for the light imbue and the 45% amp. Esther gives Quantum Storm to Sylvie, Bolting Slice, and Quantum Storm to Sylvie, Energizing Bunny for the Demon Killers, and then Calm Before the Storm. Elena does her usual Way of the Aurora, Piercing Prism, Crystal Refraction. So Crystal Refraction does do a 130% light imperil, which is kind of nice. So very convenient with that. Paladin's Defense, Compassionate Knight, Burgeoning Defense. So that ailment resistance is going to come in handy on this one because the boss does a lot of ailments on turn 1. So that will help resist all of that. Golbez is going to do Jet Black Curse, give your powers to Meteor, and Curse. Okay. Now, for this one, if you don't have an EX +2 Aerith, honestly, don't worry about it too much, because she still has her light imbue with a 30% amp on Radiant Prayer, and you can have Sylvie use Paladin's Offense for the higher mag buff on Golbez. And I think that'll still do plenty of damage. If you do have an EX2 Aerith, though, you can use this ability on this turn, Wish to Save the Planet, which does a 35% Rod Imperil. As you can see, this is really going to amplify Golbez's damage, and he's probably going to double the damage cap here. So, you know, we're doing overkill here, so you don't necessarily need Aerith's LB up on turn 1 if you don't have it. Jesse's going to do Ace in the Hole because it's an Oriole Ray chain. It doesn't perfectly chain with Extreme Nova, but we have so many people chaining that it's not going to be an issue. So we already have our breaks in. We've got our Imperil in place. Killers are in place, and Weapon Imperils. So we are good to go. Golbez can start, and then we'll just do some chains, and he will cap it. Yeah, wow. He almost did 3 billion there. Holy moly. Okay. Too easy. Okay, yeah, so like almost tripled the damage cap. So you can see how much overkill that was. So if your Aerith is only like EX0 or EX1, you just have her do the light imbue on turn 1, and then you could honestly have her drop a holy nuke on turn 2. You probably don't even need the Rod Imperil or that 45% amp to really get that one done. So yeah, there's Golbez carrying the fight. You see how much worse Esther and you know, Elena actually almost caught up to Esther because Elena is hybrid. But yeah, you see how much worse physical units are on these on this fight. You know, Esther's been routinely doing you know, like 1.5 billion. So her damage is reduced by a factor of 10 on this fight. So physical damage dealer's definitely not doing as much. With that said, you could bring a really strong 2B unit and probably still hit the damage cap with a 2B solo. But Golbez just makes it really easy, so why not bring your NVA Golbez and let him let the big dog eat, right? Okay, and so that is that's how we get our rank 1 on day 1. Obviously, that will change starting on day 3. Hopefully, I can also get rank 1 in the event as a whole, but for now, the day is done, and we get to sit back and relax until the rest of the stages open up. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Hopefully you guys can go out and clear out these stages real quick and get them done. And then I'll see you in a few days when the remaining stages open, and hopefully I rank 1 and I can show you how I did it. All right, thank you guys so much for following me, and I will see you on the other side.